Hi, welcome to my kitchen. Thank you for coming in and cooking with Andrea. Today we're going to be making empanada dough from scratch. I just want you guys to have this recipe. It's super easy. It took me a while to make doughs. I wasn't a very good baker, precise measurements. I had to buckle down and teach myself how to make sure I get the right amount. Baking is a precise, doughs are precise. So I give a lot of kudos to people who can bake. So we're going to get started with my empanada dough. And we're going to do 4 cups of flour. And it's all-purpose, pre-sifted. And that's what we're going to do. I love this recipe because it's easy enough for me to even make. I've had this one for a while. It took me probably a good, I don't know, 6 months to learn how to really get my doughs for my cookies, for my tortillas, things like that. Took me a while, but this one is an easy one. You'll appreciate this one. Okay, we have all 4 cups of our flour in here. And I'm just going to take my fork, put it down nice and even, make just a little bit of a well. I always do that. I don't know why. I watched it on a cooking show, I think. And boy, I noticed they made a well, so I make a well. I am going to add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Just going to sprinkle it around. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of regular sugar. Just going to mix it around. And then what I'm going to do is just incorporate everything. That's what I'm going to do. Mix it all together so by the time I start mixing everything in, it's not so hard. Everything has a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt. Okay. Well, I think this is good enough. So now what I'm going to do is, first of all, I wanted to show you this. I have 3/4 cups water, and I have 2 large egg yolks. I'm just going to dump it into here, and then I'm going to mix it together. So when it's time to put my liquid in, after I cut my lard and butter into it, but I didn't want to forget this step because first couple times I made the recipe myself years ago, I kept forgetting to add the water and the egg together. And I don't know, once I started adding the water and the egg together, it just was a much better vibe. So what I did is took 2 tablespoons of butter, and then I cut it up. Everything is cold, the lard and the butter. And then I just cut it up into pieces, so when I go ahead and start incorporating, mixing my dough, everything will blend easier than big chunks. Really good recipe, really easy recipe. You guys will really like it. I'm going to go ahead and start taking pieces of my lard out. I'm going to put everything in. And I had 3/4 cups of lard just in case I forgot to say it. And then what I will also do is list all the ingredients after the video, or on the video. So I'm just going to take it in, break pieces up. I don't know if this really makes a difference or not, but it sure makes it easier on me because, like I said, learning when somebody's not teaching you how to incorporate the dough, to me it was kind of hard. I was like, just stir it in. Is there any reason why I shouldn't use my my mixer? But yeah, you should kind of do this by hand. Okay, now I'm going to get a paper towel and wipe my hands off. I do not understand how come I have to be so messy and just incorporate everything with my hands. So I'm going to take my pastry cutter, and I'm going to use this, or my pastry, I don't know, I'm not a pastry chef. I'm not really good at this, but whatever this thing is, it's amazing. No, I'm just joking. It's your pastry. It's for pastry. And I'm just going to mix it in. And then I'm going to go whole hands in and just separate my dough myself. I normally do this. When I started doing that, oh boy, my dough just started coming out so much better. Just take and do this. Boy, empanadas are really awesome to make. I love my dough, first of all. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to be honest, I like my empanadas fried versus baked better, but baked is much healthier. At least I believe. That's what I've been reading on. An empanada, you put any filling you prefer. A lot of times I'll have frozen beans and rice that I cook in a big huge pot, and I just put those in my empanadas and I fry them or I bake them. Trying to do much better and do more baked foods. I'm going to go hands in right now and start mixing my dough with my butter and my lard. But like I said, the empanadas, you can fill them with anything. I have done steak and cheese and a little bit of onion in there. I most of the time fill it with beans and rice and pork or chicken, because I usually have more of those staples around the house that I've already pre-cooked and everything is ready. You know, working all day, cooking all day, you know, you don't have time to come home and cook sometimes. So I'm taking my lard, I can fill the lard and the cold lard and the cold butter, and I'm just incorporating everything together. You know, when you start out, your flour is nice and soft. When it is just totally flaky, you can feel and you'll know when it's done. But just incorporate everything so that you have little pieces like this. It's not as fine. There's a little bit of a texture to it. Takes a few minutes to do this, but this is the longest part of making your fresh dough. Trust me, it's worth it. It's worth every minute. This dough is good. You can save it up to 3 months. What I'm going to do is, after I'm done making it, I'll go ahead and get my, I think, probably I'll put it in the refrigerator for about an hour to let it cool, because if you were to use this right after you make it, you still have to let it cool for an hour. So I'll probably just wrap it in plastic for an hour, and then after I cool it, I'm going to go ahead and put it in a food saver bag and get it ready for the freezer. I'm going to date it and label it, and then this way I won't have to make dough next time. I'll have my dough ready, so then I go straight to empanadas, because when you make your food from scratch, it's a lot of work. You're in the kitchen many hours, but boy, it sure is worth it. When you have fresh dough, not so many preservatives, things like that, boy, it sure tastes better. When you make it, it tastes better, in my opinion. And then, you know, I am getting older, so, you know, you got to be a little bit more healthier when you get older, unfortunately, because just age creeps up on you. So that's why I'm really into making my food from scratch. I really think it's a healthier alternative. I am not the healthiest person as far as I'm going to do everything from scratch, but I'm trying, I'm learning, and boy, I sure love cooking. It is amazing. Like I tell you guys, this is my therapy, to be in my kitchen cooking for my family. I love it. So my dough is ready. I've squeezed all my butter and lard into my flour. I feel like every piece of my flour has a little bit of butter, a little bit of lard, and a little bit of love in it. So I am thinking we are ready to incorporate my wet ingredient, my egg and my water. Yep, this is how it should look. And it should flake like that. You know, the one thing good about this dough, it is like a pie crust. I just really love it. It makes my empanadas, when I bake them, makes them glossy, flaky. You know, a little bit of egg wash on them, and boy, it sure looks glossy. But everything is incorporated. Like I said, it doesn't take very long to do this from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe my hands off. I'm going to move my board over. Boy, I tell you, I don't know how I can be so messy. But boy, I sure am messy. Hopefully it makes my food taste better. Hopefully you get points for that. The messier you are, the better your food tastes, we hope. So I'm just going to mix this real fast. This was 3/4 cup of water with 2 egg yolks only in there. So I'm going to go ahead and move this right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my hand. I'm going to start mixing in my egg mixture and my water together. And I'm going to start incorporating it. Okay, We're doing good. Everything's been coming incorporated. And I can feel the dough is starting to absorb the moisture. It's starting to come together. And then I'm going to go in like this for a second. Mush it together. Make it all nice. When this is smooth, I'll put it all out. And when it's smooth, that means it's ready to go on the board. Now I'm going 2 hands in. And then I'll put a little bit on the board and finish making it. But boy, this is a really good recipe. I enjoy it tremendously. Now you got to do the hard work. Got to get the dough mixed in, get it all nice and soft, and all the little pieces of flour incorporated. And boy, it's starting to look good. See how it's coming off my fingers just like that? It's coming off great. This means you've done good. That means your dough is becoming the way it needs to be. Boy, this dough stays good in your refrigerator too, up to 3 days. After 3 days, it makes it harder to roll. But basically, so all I'm doing is just incorporating everything. I'm going to pick the ball up, see if I have any good bits on the bottom. And then, just going to take it and put it on my, board for a second. I just put a little bit of flour down. Okay. Move it over just a bit. And I'm just going to brush it like that so I can put my dough ball here. Because all I'm going to do is knead this for a minute until I get it nice and smooth. And then I'm going to wrap it. And it's almost smooth. And everything is nice and incorporated. Just leave my big fat dough ball. And do you see that? That looks great. You are good to go to put it in the refrigerator. And like I said, this dough is a good dough. It has flakes like a pie crust. So when you make your empanadas, boy, they sure are delicious. This dough, even I could make the dough. And like I said, I struggled with doughs and things like that. But, you know, I love cooking. I really love baking. It's just that I don't know if I have the patience for all the science that those people go through. So this is what my dough looks like. I'm going to take it right here to my plastic. And I'm just going to wrap it. And like I said, I have to place it in the refrigerator for 1 hour until so it gets cold. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and take my dough and I'm going to freeze my dough. This will be good in your freezer for up to 3 months. Look at that, looks perfect. So I want to thank you for coming into my kitchen and cooking with me, Andrea. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. Thanks and have a good day.